Hello, this is Mr. Jared, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to be continuing my cartoon portrait demo on day 3. So in day 2, we did all of the line work, and we kind of made this scary looking outline of ourselves, and I kind of talked about what was good and what was bad, and what you should be tracing and what you shouldn't be tracing. And all of those directions are literally written right here for you. So for this video, it's going to pick up right where I left off. Please see the previous video if you have not done this yet. But I'm going to go over to here, and you can see on this one, what I purposely did was I changed the outline of one of mine to be red, just as a demonstration to kind of show you what was one solid line versus all of the rest. So on this part now, we're going to be looking at changing the colors and the profiles before we move on. So we've probably already looked and made sure that all of the profiles are changed to one of these two, but if you haven't already done so, you definitely want to do that. You just want to take your black mouse and go around and select these and see up at the top. If it's not the football shape or the double football shape, then you want to change it to that. Okay, so you don't want any single lines that say uniform on them. That's a pretty simple thing that you can do. Okay, but the more complicated part here is the colors. So we want all fills and all strokes to be absolute black. So follow these steps below. We are going to be using the Magic Wand tool. You probably have heard of that tool from Photoshop. Well, that is Adobe Photoshop. This is Adobe Illustrator. It works very similarly in this program as well. So you're going to select a line, and then you're going to double click on the stroke to either enter in the color picker this Pantone number, or you can just drag it to straight up black, like jet black. So to show you, I'm going to come up here and grab my Magic Wand tool. I'll just click on a line, and it selects all of the lines on my line work layer. So you can see right now it says question mark. It doesn't know what you actually want. So I'm going to change this to this black. This is absolute black. So some of your lines might be this color. We want it to be this black. Okay, so now they're all changed. So that's good. So now moving on, we're going to save our document. I already have mine saved, so make sure you save yours. And this gets confusing down here. So it says we're going to start out by duplicating the line work layer. I have that highlighted in bold, and I cannot tell you how many times kids don't do that. It's literally step one. Please make sure you do that. Okay, I'm going to pull these directions to my other screen, and I'm going to read them step by step to you, and I'll pull those back and forth. But I'm going to take this line work layer, and I'm just going to drag it down to the plus sign right here to create a copy. And it says that I want you to turn off the visibility, lock, and rename the duplicated layer to unmerged line work. So this is the duplicated layer. See how it says copy. So I'm going to name it unmerged line work. This is my oh crap, I messed up, I need to go back and change something, and it's not merged together. It's my original line work. So I'm going to turn off the visibility, lock it, and rename it, just like it says. So we're putting it to the side just in case we ever need it. Okay, now it says select the original line work layer. That would be this one. And then it says we need to hit Control A. That would be select all. So Control A, I selected everything in that layer. And then it says go up to the object drop down. Now I have noticed this is different per drawing. It depends on what type of shapes you actually have. So it says we need to either hit expand appearance or expand. Okay, so on mine I have expand appearance, and I do not have expand. If you only have expand, click on that. If you have expand appearance, click that. But I haven't seen anybody have both. Okay, so I'm going to click that. And then the second set says pretty much do the same thing if you need to. So I'm going to go back up to this, and if it still says expand appearance, do it a couple more times. But that's just kind of taking some of the solid shapes that you've had and expanding them. But I've only ever had to really do this once, and most students only ever have to do this once of clicking the expand appearance. But now I can just click normal expand. And what I'm doing here when I'm expanding, I'm taking an object like my line, and instead of it being a line, now it's going to outline that line and make it a solid shape. So it's actually going to give it a line on the outside, line on the inside, but fill on the inside. So that's complicated. Well, and it's so complicated that it's actually going to call it a complex path, okay, or a compound path. And it's going to ask us, do we want our fills and strokes? Yes, we do. Okay, so we hit OK. So moving back to this, just to kind of show you where I'm at, I did this one, I copied it, I expanded, I hit OK. Now we're on this D, so that is way down here, that's number 8. We're going to open our Pathfinder panel and we're going to hit merge. And if you don't know where that is, you're going to go up to the window drop down and Pathfinder. But I already have that up here from previous examples or previous projects of using this. So Pathfinder, and I'm going to go to merge. That's the bottom row, third one in. Okay, I'm going to hit merge. And then on my directions, it says we are going to duplicate this once again. So when you merged, you should notice that if you had all these sublayers, I deleted them in a lot of the future templates, but you might have some sublayers. I know some of you like to be organized and name things. If you still have lines that are on these sublayers, hit merge again or go back up to the expand and then try to merge it. It should have put them all onto one layer for you. It might not be named skin creases like mine does, but it should have put them all onto one layer for you. Okay, now it tells us in the directions we are going to copy this. So I'm going to bring this down and copy this. So you can be like, why do we need 3? Trust me, okay? We will. So I'm going to lock this one right here, the copied one. And what it says is we are going to switch to the bottom one, this one, and we're going to make a big rectangle that covers all of our line work. So I'm going to come down here, big rectangle that covers all of our line work. And we're going to eyedrop that our skin color. So right now it looks like it's covering everything, but keep in mind that's because we have this layer turned on. So if we actually look at this over here in our layers panel, you see that box is technically covering the outlines here. What we're seeing is from this one, okay? So we need this layer to be underneath this one. So my directions say that we are going to be right-clicking on that rectangle. Okay, so right here, right-click on the rectangle and hit Arrange Send to Back. Arrange Send to Back. So I'll just right-click, Arrange Send to Back. Now that's the same thing as just taking this layer and just dragging it down. It's the same thing. But basically what we're doing is we're moving these lines up. So now if you look at that little tiny picture, you should see the skin color rectangle with your lines on top of it. Now this layer is the layer that we are going to merge everything. So make sure that you have this layer up here, this copied one, locked, and we're going to make sure that we're on this one, okay, the one we're currently working on with the rectangle. We're going to hit Control A, so it selects the lines and it selects this color in the background, your skin color. Now we're going to merge these. So go over to your Pathfinder tab and hit merge. And when you did that, you basically just kind of treated this like cookie dough. Okay, so think about this. You flatten out some cookie dough, that's what this skin color is, and this is like your cookie cutter. You took those black lines and you pushed into that, and what it did was it separated or it cut through this colored background. So this area should now be separated from this area, and from this area, and from that area, and from that area, and so on and so on. Now, if you did not have a solid line across the bottom, or a solid line going up the sides, or you had any gaps in here, it's not going to separate correctly. So I'm going to show you an example, okay? And I'll show you if this one actually works correct. So once you have merged those, it says that we are going to right-click on this shape and hit Isolate Selected Group. So that's going to take everything else away. So you're not distracted by anything. You're not clicking on the wrong stuff. It says switch over to your direct select arrow. That's the white one. And try to click on the outside. Now when you click on the outside and you hit delete, if it doesn't do this, meaning it doesn't only delete the excess, If it deletes some of your body, some of the color in your clothes, anything like that, that means you have an opening. Okay, now I don't have an opening. So this is good that I don't have an opening. Okay, I'm going to continue this video right now as if I didn't have an opening, like I don't, and I'm finishing the video. At the very end of the video, I'm going to circle all the way back and I'm going to show you what to do if you have an opening. Okay, so right now in my directions, if this all worked and I merged, I'm down here. I'm going to exit the isolation mode by just pressing escape. We're going to rename this layer base color. We're going to drag it below the highlights and shadows layer, and then we are going to be changing the colors of this. Okay, so on this layer, I'll just hit escape. I'm going to name this base color. And this is that ugly Halloween mask that I've kind of described before. I'm going to drag that underneath the skin highlights and shadows. And now I'm going to use my direct select just to kind of select these different areas and eyedrop my clothes. Okay, or eyedrop whatever you need to change here. So I'm just going to make all of these clothes areas my base color. Now you probably noticed on my original image I had like this plaid shirt on. Hey, change it. If you want to change it, if you have jewelry or some type of clothing that is difficult to do and you don't want to do it, then don't do it. I didn't feel like doing this plaid. I was more focused on my face, so I just changed it to a plain shirt. Okay, so that is my base color. So this is the part where I would lock my base color and I would save it. And now I would be done with day number 3. Now, if you had the problem where it leaked into here, I'm going to take you back and show you how to fix this. So that means my base color, that's no good. I'm going to have to delete that layer. That also means my line work, no good, because that's all merged. So I'm going to have to delete that layer. Look at this. That's why I have my unmerged layer. Okay, I'll go back, I'll turn that on, I'll unlock it, and I need to zoom in and I want to double check everything. So if you do not have lines on the outsides like this, obviously that's the first part you want to look at. But you probably want to look real close here and see if you have any lines that are falling short of one another. So for instance, like this one, I'm very surprised that this one actually worked. Because that black line stops here, luckily it actually worked. Sometimes with this double football shape, it will almost look like there's the line itself, but then the color is kind of off a little bit, like the computer glitches. And when that happens, you need to either get me or you need to kind of just fatten that line up by using the width tool. So you see this width tool right here. I can just click right there, right by the end of it, and I can just kind of fatten this up a little bit, and then I can move that point closer. And when I do that, it's going to overlap more. So then it's going to think it's a solid shape. So you want to zoom in to each and individual little connection piece and make sure that you don't have any open gaps anywhere around your entire thing. And if you try it again, I'm sure it'll work. So unfortunately, you have to go back in the video now and find out where we stopped with this, where we locked and made copies and all of that stuff, so that you can kind of continue through that process. If you've done this twice and it does not work, please let me know. But hopefully this all worked out for you, and that is the completion of day 3.